Okay, we're very deep into the draft very quickly. So let's quickly recap, because Caitlyn, Nico, and Ambessa were all taken away. Ksante was first picked by G2, which honestly is very surprising when so much of this conversation has been about support and, bot lane and jungle. And like that was going to be the follow-up to my point, which is that I think jungle has had a huge impact on bot lane's ability to get prio, because it felt like that in games 2 and 3 especially, BLG did such a fantastic job of mitigating SkewMond's impact and limiting his early jungle clears, which slowed him down throughout the rest of the game.
Broken Blade, I think, did a pretty good job of mitigating Bin in the earlier stages of last game, so it's something I will say kind of did go better. Obviously, Bin then was Bin in teamfights. He's playing as Jax, he was a problem, but I do think they did a pretty good job with that.
I think this Xayah pick is such a good idea from BLG, because when you lock in the Vi, Xayah like gets so much value, especially against a champion that wants to dive into you. Having that ultimate punishes you so effectively. So BLG choosing to take it away, and now Rakan immediately raises in priority. And with Poppy already taken out of the pool, the pressure is now on G2. Do you look to take away the Rakan? And if you do, you're then going up against On's Alistar. Yeah. So like I think BLG have come with a great approach into this first 2 picks.
Yeah, there's also the option of going Leona, which was always kind of that old classic counter into the Rakan. Corki is up and available, which is something I kind of think about. You know,
Corki was picked.
Excuse me, Corki was picked earlier. So we'll have to see where Hans actually wants to go here.
Because like Misfortune, I think, doesn't make any sense. It doesn't have enough self-build.
Misfortune against Vi is
But with both
terrifying.
Ezreal and Corki gone, you're a little bit limited. Sivir as well would be high on my priority list, but that's also gone too. They could consider maybe a Jhin, just because.
Hate Jhin.
I mean,
that champion is just trash, man. Okay, I like this more.
Sure.
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, Jhin and Kaisa are the two that kind of I was ending up on, where it's like, okay, you either join the dive or you use something to try to absorb the dive. I just think Jhin is just garbage, and especially these Ghostblade builds, they just deal no damage. So I like this a lot more. Now you are kind of setting yourself up for a pretty aggressive comp. I do think it gives the opportunity for BLG to try to draft to absorb that. I was a little bit worried for G2 that On could have just gone like Renata here, honestly, or something along those lines, because when you're already showcasing dive in relatively low range, I think that can be a bit scary. I think for BLG, you probably want to ban aggressive pairings for this, because if you have Kaisa, you want to go in Kaisa Rakan. I'm thinking about champions like Akali rising in priority, like Sylas maybe even rising in priority, especially because there is the Alistar. So I feel like Sylas is kind of a must ban. And then to me, it's a question of, do you care about Akali or not? But Maokai so far, I'd be shocked if they leave Sylas up. I feel like Sylas goes so hard.
I think G2 should be worried about Ahri and Syndra once again. I think both of those pair very nicely alongside the Vi, and they're both just mega comfort picks for Knight. Akali, as you also mentioned, is...
Wouldn't you be happy playing Sylas into the Ahri with an Alistar ult steal? I feel like that's actually, that's about as good as you can get.
So personally, I just don't like Sylas into Xayah. I think that throwing more melees into a champion that wants you to come to her and can punish you so effectively. And right now, I don't think Sylas has great setup. Like Rakan alone is not enough. I need to know what jungler they're thinking about. And the jungle options, I think, are now becoming a lot more limited with Vi taken out of the pool. So Sylas, for me, like I see the value specifically into the Alistar, but I kind of need to see what else G2 is cooking in terms of what they would pair up alongside it in the jungle.
Possibly something like a Malphite. The ability to jump on the Xayah. Yes, she can ult up out of your ult, but then you follow up with the quickness, right? Like, so you have some option to like have a dive onto that Xayah, but it is obviously really risky and not something we often see from SkewMond.
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of just the 80 jungler tier list, right? We can look at things like Neferi at this point. You can look at things like Wukong hasn't yet been played.
True.
You can look at Malphite potentially. There's Viego. There's a lot of junglers that are still up and available. Kali will be banned. I think that makes a lot of sense. You know, again, from BLG's side, I feel like when you see Kaisa, you see Rakan, they're going to pair it with dive, right? You kind of just have to. And so banning away that Akali, I think, makes a lot of sense. I'm curious where BLG will go on 4. They are going to ban the Syndra as well as the Ahri. So that would take away some of these strong matchups. And yeah, I really feel like Caps is maybe going to go Sylas here. I could be way off base, but...
No, I see the angle as well.
Yeah.
I see the angle, even if Vedi isn't perhaps 100% sure about
especially
the
with all the protection bans.
Yeah, it would make a lot of sense. BLG likely going to look towards their top laner here, knowing already that Ksante is in. Bin on the Camille. He's just going through his greatest hits across the course of this series.
He's got a lot of them.
Yeah, that he does. That he does.
That is really scary. That is so much dive. Like that's.
I like how just no matter what Bin locks in, and he's like, oh, that's
like
tough.
That. Don't like that at all. I mean, it's just I feel like it gets a free lane to Ksante. Ksante, I really feel can't punish it. And also, like, okay, sure, a Vi goes in, Kaisa then, okay, you've ulted me, I then ult out. Bin then says, nah, you're staying right here with me, buddy. So the dive threat from BLG looks really nice right now. G2 taking into consideration their options. And yeah, so this is the thing that I was like more mindful of, is that like depending on what jungle option they feel they're limited to, largely determines what options Caps has. And it seems that team fighting seems to be the direction that they're going. So this Kaisa is less about diving and more about the self-peel. Going to be using the ultimate to try and outplay the Camille and basically try their best to stay alive.
TF is interesting. You know, if you go TF, you are playing to the sides. I don't really like Cassio. That's a little bit strange. I mean, I think it's compositionally a good answer. In the 1v1, definitely don't like it into Viktor. Can be a pretty tough matchup. You're getting outranged. And Viktor and a lot of these kind of like against these mid-range mages, you're just getting laser poked on cooldown, and it can be a little bit difficult. That being said, the miasma is problematic for a lot of these champions.
Basically all of G2's champions apart from the Viktor. And then the fact you're running into the Cassio and you have that petrifying gaze, it's very concerning.
So to me, you know, this is not a lane pick, this is a compositional pick. He's saying you are going to be trying to dive in on us, you're going to be trying to come forward with 4 of these champions, and all of a sudden you have to go through the petrifying gaze, through, you know, this combo there from the Alistar, through all the feathers of the Xayah, and really just trying to make it difficult compositionally. But it does open the door for Caps to set him up for success in the 1v1. And we saw in game 1 and game 2, he was doing very, very well in that 1v1 against Knight, which would be huge.
Once more into the breach, my friends, as BLG are 1 game away from claiming the LPL's first international title since 2023 MSI. For G2, it's do or die. They have to win this, they have to win the next if they're gonna put Europe at the top of League of Legends. And it's been a long time since 2019 for G2, for Caps in particular. For BLG, still looking as an organization for that first ever international trophy. Let's make our way onto Summoner's Rift and see who of the LPL and the LEC can fight first in this game. I mean,
BLG, as an organization, they've gone through so many different variations, and last year, I mean, we all remember it, the I don't know, what's the right word? The number of junglers that they went through, it just felt...
Slew?
Yeah, slew. I mean, they tried so many different iterations, and they ultimately landed back on Shun, right? They realized that this was the man that kind of did bring the team together, and like, it's been overused, but it really is true. Like, this roster playing with Shun, it feels like that they are complete, they are whole, and that shouldn't take away, as you've done a really good job of highlighting throughout this series, how impactful he has been as a player at this tournament. Whether it comes to individual mechanics, his great decision-making, and his synergy just with On, it's been so important to create BLG's early game, which then enables these solo laners to do what they do so well.
Hey, being the glue guy doesn't mean you can't also be the GOAT. But
I think it's horses that usually turn into glue, actually.
Okay. I mean, he has been smurfing it so far. Good thing for G2, though, no crazy level 1s happening, which has been something that BLG have been going for a lot and getting some nice advantages with. You can see Caps is playing Airy, so will be Conqueror there for Knight. You know, more of that scaling option. Interesting that Viper is also going to be going for that Conqueror. I feel like Xayah can kind of go a lot of different ways. You can go Conqueror, you can go Lethal Tempo. I've even seen some people playing PTA, so that's kind of dealer's choice.
With the jungler starting on the top side of the map, we'll be working their way down towards bottom. Viper still very healthy on this bottom lane as Hans Sommer down to half HP. He's had to go through all of his potions already. Labrov trying to trade in Gleaming Quill, really what you want to use early on this Rakan into the Alistar. Knight very low on health and mana. Is just able to walk out of Caps' clutches.
Very much what Azael was talking about during the draft, where this Cassio just kind of gets outranged. Viktor is a very good early skirmisher when it comes to the laning phase, and so Caps has done a good job of just pushing him out. With the bot prio and the mid prio that they do have, though, SkewMond has used this opportunity to steal away a camp. Level 2 for the bot lane of G2
Shun is fighting him for it. SkewMond looking for the smite here. 700 HP on the red. SkewMond, the smite comes down, but it's Shun that will secure it. No, it's SkewMond, in fact, as Labrov tries to come across. Caps there as well. Miasma down. Excessive force from Shun. SkewMond flashes for the kill, trying to heal up with the red buff here, but Knight will be able to take him out with an Noxious Blast. BLG will even out the fight 1-1.
Yeah, I just don't think it's worth it at all there for G2. I mean, SkewMond was fighting the red buff. They're going to keep going.
Heal from On. Look at that trample stun as well. Noxious Blast gives Knight the movement speed. Has double buffs as well as Labrov tries to keep him at bay. Needs the Gleaming Quill healing, but even with the Siphon power, the shield is not enough. Knight 2-0 to kick us off.
I mean, SkewMond is fighting the red buff. Shun is fighting SkewMond. You know, he's just hitting the red buff because he has the smite advantage. Shun had no smite, so he just kept hitting him. And it could have been worse. SkewMond smote that to 1 HP. It almost went to an E from Shun, which would have made even worse there. But SkewMond is back out on the map. Wanted to keep this pressure on, but that was then double buffs donated to Knight, then the follow-up kill on the Caps. Now you've taken your winning lane for Caps, and you've donated 2 buffs over to Knight, 2 free kills. And just like that, it's going to be a kind of a free pass out of the early game for the Cassio.
Yeah, the Cassio is getting accelerated, which is always a scary position to put her in. So we look back, and exactly as Azael is saying, Shun is just hitting onto SkewMond, dealing good damage. Caps then arrives on early flashes to get in range as quickly as possible. Knight commits his flash as well. And then this was the decision. SkewMond's realizing with the bot lane collapsing through and Kaisa too far away to join the fight, I feel like I have to go for a 1-for-1, but then On makes the smart decision saying, I still have my heal, Caps has no flash, you've got unlimited mana because of the blue buff, let's chase this down, and they do just that.
Yeah, they're able to do it really well. I mean, Caps tried to get a sidestep there on the Noxious Blast, couldn't avoid it, and that second one connecting was going to be his doom. I mean, the speed up from the heal from On was pretty critical there as well, but just not what they would have wanted to see. The golden left hand of the LPL Knight has been running things in that league for a while. 7 LPL titles. SkewMond going to be warded out, and Shun is in the area. This guy has just been stellar across multiple rosters, multiple teams. He is, to me, the greatest LPL player of all time.
Yeah, and was part of the roster that last won an international title for the LPL. JDG back at MSI 2023. Now looking to add another trophy to their cabinet here at First Stand 2026. BLG once again out to this strong early lead. Leads in mid, lead in top. About 1,000 gold their advantage across the board.
Things looking very favorable for BLG once again in the early game. G2, they're going to have to navigate their way through the fights as Caps ends up losing a cannon minion there as he was trying to interrupt the base from Knight. Knight should have a pretty healthy, like, I don't think he's actually gone back to base since that skirmish, so he's probably sitting on a decent amount of gold as well. Meanwhile, this bot lane, I mean, it kind of only gets harder as the levels come through. Alistar having a lot more playmaking power. Even though On doesn't have any summoners available to him, he's still threatening very nicely in this bot lane 2v2.
He is, but Viper hasn't bought yet, so they definitely are just looking to get a reset. We'll see if SkewMond can get any sort of advantage. That's a very slight gold lead, did get that kill, so got a bit of an injection. And we'll see if he can find an angle. They don't want to let Viper get this reset, but it's going to be tough to stop.
Shun is in the area as well. Labrov looking for the grand entrance. Knockup has to flash away from the blades pulled back from Viper. Would have rooted him up. With Shun coming across, would have been an easy enough kill for BLG. Shun now getting level 6 as well before SkewMond means that the Drake should be pretty easy for BLG to secure. Pathmaker in from Broken Blade onto Bin. Gonna trade in, Bin avoiding the walls. Broken Blade could go forward with the all-out. X-Golden Maiden still available to the Camille as well, and it looks like in the end with the adaptive defenses coming up for Camille, it will just be Broken Blade backing off.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, this early game just looks so devastating for G2. Very reminiscent of what we saw in Game 3. The advantage that Shun has over SkewMond is monstrous as On sets his sights onto mid.
Yeah, goes in with the trample. That's Petrifying Gaze as well. Caps was able to dodge to the side of it. Didn't get stunned up, even with the exhaust. Is able to walk himself to safety.
Yeah, nicely done there. SkewMond coming to cover, Labrov there to cover. That could have been an angle for a kill. But it's just so hard now because Viktor plays this a poke style against Cassio. But now Cassio gets 2 early kills, you get the 2 buffs, then you have an early catalyst, and all of a sudden you're kind of just ignoring the damage and hitting the wave.
And look at how quickly you're accelerating that tier as well, ramping that one up. On is doing so much work in this early game.
He's just everywhere right now. SkewMond will get the smite on the red buff. Trample coming out from On, knocks him back towards Shun. Battle dance away, but there's a cease and desist follow-up. And with the miasma coming in from Knight, Labrov has to try and dance his way away. SkewMond trying to get the red buff slow. The knock-up, Shun will fall, Labrov will survive. On caught in the gravity well, and BLG overstep is a double for Hunt. All out onto Knight. Take a knee, Knight. Broken Blade will take him out.
A big overstep misstep from BLG as Ong just got a little bit too confident. He goes in very deep with Shun. They want to take away that red buff. They know that they have the level advantage. They have the gold advantage in mid, but it's just too deep.
Exactly. I mean, and Viper still doesn't even reset a single time this game. And in comes the Kaisa, in comes this bot lane. They could not finish off Labrov quickly enough. Look where Bin is. He can't join. The Kaisa shows up. They realize that the fight is an absolute disaster. And BLG, this is sometimes how they are. They can outplay you. They can create these big advantages, and then they can get overconfident and give it right back. You know, it is the kind of give and take of this roster. They get a little bit wild sometimes, and now G2 going to be the receiving end of that. Hans gets 2 kills out of nowhere. The Kaisa's accelerated. Broken Blade picks up a kill. G2 are in the gold lead.
BLG still doing a lot of things right through this early game, though. On and Shun teaming up. Shun's going to be able to take the second neutral objective of the game in the form of the Grubs. And G2, although they have a 300 gold lead, Knight still massively ahead of Caps in that mid lane.
I mean, the wave of a wave of momentum has shifted towards G2, though, which they very much needed because this early game felt like it was rapidly getting out of control. The Dragon has been secured, was secured earlier on by BLG, but now it's G2 that want to get a little bit more proactive on the map.
Yeah, this is the thing that having that momentum, having that impetus allows G2 to do. The whole game, it's been On and Shun going into SkewMond's jungle saying, hey, you can have your Wolves, but we're taking your blue. You can have your red, but we're taking your Raptors. You can have this, but we're taking this. And now it's G2 who can actually be on that front foot, knowing they have enough tools, enough advantages to be able to take a fight if it materializes.
I think G2 clearly came into this game with that plan, right? You know, right from the word go, they're going on this invade. They're trying to put pressure onto Shun. They didn't want to be the ones always on the receiving end. You know, we had talked about it a lot, how much SkewMond is being pressured. Of course, it's not just the 1v1. Jungle is about the lanes, is about the team. But SkewMond being able to get off on the right foot a little bit more in this game.
It's important that they don't get overconfident because here's the reality. Bin is playing like he has all series long. He's built himself an individual CS advantage. He's still in a good spot on this Camille, continuing to scale up as Broken Blade actually fancies himself a nice bit of a trade. Does have the ultimate back off cooldown, but getting that early armor obviously helping him in terms of this 1v1.
I mean, I think Bin is a fantastic laner, but to me, the thing that has always really been standout about Bin is actually his team fighting, right? Because a lot of times he plays these scaling picks, and he's just confident. As long as he is getting gold, he is going to find impact in the 5v5s, in the 3v3s. When it comes time to make that big play, this guy has done it time and time and time again, more so than in the lane. I really associate his success with just finding those big plays in the later stages.
I mean, there was that Camille play that he did back in MSI, I want to say 24.
One of the craziest combos.
Yeah, and there were so many breakdowns. Yeah, over the Baron Pit. So, like, I mean, he used to be, I want to say it was a Camille one trick back in his solo queue days, back in the day. But, like, this is just one of the champions that he became so synonymous with, a champion that many have feared. And, I mean, it makes sense that he would pick it into Broken Blade, considering how he must feel he is just so much stronger in the lane. He is looking to proxy right now, but SkewMond is in the area.
That's a Cyclone out. Bin, hookshot, wall dive. Doesn't get over the wall, though. Now flashes Broken Blade with the path. Mega Hexagon Ultimatum tries to be used. They'll pull it back with the all out. And G2 will find Bin and cast a curse for Betty. Look, man, I know you want the LEC to win, but that was overkill.
Classic caster bias. Really disgusting when you think about it. Bin trying to go for a proxy angle there, and SkewMond just has the right timing. Broken Blade already had his buy, so he had the Iceborne. He has the 1v1 advantage. Bin isn't even trying to kill that wave. He's just trying to pull the wave so it stacks and pushes towards him so he can get a free base. And unfortunately, SkewMond shows up. He gets punished, loses his flash, loses the ult, does die.
Importantly for BLG, though, while that was happening, Shun was covering bot lane, and Hans and Labrov had to walk away. So you can see now Hans about 300 gold behind, 20 CS down in that bot side.
Yeah, that is definitely a worthy trade, but this is now 2 kills that Broken Blade has been able to pick up. You know, on that earlier roam, he got the kill on tonight. Now gets a second one here. And
that could be a solo kill.
Caps, looking for the damage.
Yeah,
Lands against it with the Arcane Storm. Caps brings the power of Hex Tech down on the head of Knight. Yeah, I mean, Shun going in with a flash cease and desist, and even with the death ray, I don't think Caps walks out of this one. SkewMond trying to come in, Siphon power, the shield, the quickness, perhaps he does! G2, where have these miracles been waiting for us?
I mean, that was a massive misplay from from Knight. Like, if I could see it from the caster desk, I'm shocked that he didn't see it himself. The fact that he ended up losing in the 1v1, he loses his flash, and then Shun tries to get something back, but this time Labrov and SkewMond are ready. G2 are bouncing back here in game 4 as they find themselves more kills.
Yeah, I mean, Knight needed to early flash because as soon as you get hit by the laser, you flash after. He's always going to flash follow with the ultimate there to knock you down. So Cap's able to get a solo kill. Knight had that early skirmish, put him ahead, but the invade was an overstep. And I talked about it, this is a pick that is more about the comp, not about the matchup. It is a very hard matchup to play out.
Yeah, right here, you know that Q, E, and R is a kill. And so Knight, like as you said, the only way that Caps doesn't flash for that is if he misses the E. But the fact that you would get hit by the E and then flash costs you so much. He gets the shield off of the Siphon Power, and then Vi's just slightly out of range, allowing for Labrov and SkewMond to come in and save the day.
That is so tilting as a Vi as well.
Oh, it absolutely is.
And I mean, Shun now is being put in a spot where he is pretty far behind on the Vi. And sometimes these games can become really rough for a Vi when you are getting put down like this.
The thing for me, though, is, like, these kills, they're promising, they're exciting, but in terms of the actual gold, it's not amounting into massive gold leads yet. G2 don't have a firm foot in this game, but maybe that'll change right now.
Caps and SkewMond on the flank, on with the knockback onto Labrov, who does have the quickness. Caps trying to come in with that gravity well. Heal out from On will get him out of it. There's the silence with the Arcane Storm. On knocked up and break for Will. Pretty well broken by G2. Viper now with the Feather Storm, with the flash. Are they going to go into his nest? Are they going to look for the dive with a TP out from Knight? Shun on his way across as well. G2 begin to call off the play. They get the TP out. Shun won't be in range to stop SkewMond with a Noxious Blast. Knight can still chase in. Cyclone Miasma. Labrov dodges the Petrifying Gaze. The killer is coming out. Labrov, that was beautiful! He dunks on him! LeBron James with the alley-oop, a double for Han Summer. Viper will be able to walk away, but that was gorgeous from G2.
LeBron, but the outplay there, the backstep on the quickness was sick, and now Broken Blade wanted to get involved on the top side. It looks like they had such a good angle because the miasma felt like it was going to cut them off, and then right as they go forward, you're thinking, all right, it's straight into the Petrifying Gaze, but G2 knew it. This ult from On just came out way too late. He was already low. It's not going to protect you very much when you're down that much HP. Knight pushes out mid, TP's bot.
And now he's looking for a turnaround play because he knows that Shun is on the way as well. He thinks that, hey, maybe I can punish SkewMond, and the miasma placement was good, but Labrov reads it, the step backwards, recognizing it was going to come through, sets up for Han Summer, ult into the backline. And before this replay, I said, G2 don't really have a sizable enough gold lead for me to have a huge amount of confidence that they really have a foothold in this game. But now, it is 3,000 gold to their name, 15 minutes in. SkewMond 1.2k the gold lead. He is having way more impact than he's had in the last two.
Knight going to get stunned up. Death Ray comes out from Caps. Knight is able to walk away from the Arcane Storm, but takes half his health for it.
And as much as Viper has done great in this lane phase, Hans has 4 random kills. He roamed top, picked up a couple there. They have this skirmish here. He picks up a couple there. And all of a sudden, despite being down 30 CS, it doesn't matter. He's up nearly 1,000 gold on the Kaisa. Really accelerated off of these plays. Right place, right time. His teammates set him up so well. And G2 out to nearly a 3,000 gold lead off of an early game that felt like it was BLG's.
All out onto Bin here. Hookshot wall dive will get him away. Phoebe could have flashed forward, but Bin has to flash, respects the flash Q out of Broken Blade. SkewMond also coming in from the side. Like, BB just beat Bin in a 1v1 in the top lane.
I mean, he's been the beneficiary of all of these early kills, and they've done him a lot of favors. He's done a lot of work onto this top tower, and I feel like that when we think back to the last 2 games, BLG were the ones dictating the pace of the game. And it's crazy to think how that one deep invade on the top side jungle has completely swung that momentum G2's way. They are the drivers of this game. They are the initiators. They are the one making these plays. And now Dragon, 20 seconds away. We're 1-1 apiece, and you have to expect that G2 will set their sights on this next objective.
The game is far from over, but if you're BLG and you lose this game, that is what you were thinking about. You're thinking about that failed invade.
Oh, on with the knock-up here. Shun there for the follow-up. Miasma down, Blast Cone used. Beautiful stuff from BLG. A Trident collapsing onto SkewMond, and they skewer him on the end of it. Broken Blade now needs to get away. We'll be able to get protection underneath the tower with the Pathmaker Q3 for the knockback as well. BLG investing 4 to make sure that Bin can take this tower and open up the map.
And that's first tower, so there's a ton of gold given back to Bin. Broken Blade had been able to pick up a couple of these kills. You know, was kind of just in this position where you get ahead enough on a tank and you're kind of just outstatting them, right? It's hard to trade back. So this is really key for Bin, getting him into a good position once again in the 1v1.
And I think it was a big mistake from SkewMond because BLG recognized, you know what, we're not strong enough to fight for the dragon. We'll give this dragon up and instead we'll look to cross-map. But then SkewMond, I think he just got a bit too greedy, trying to stop them from committing to that top tower, instead trying to fight them, and he ends up losing his life, giving over way more gold than he needed to. 1.5k the swing now, only a 1.5k gold lead for G2, and the dragon is still on the cards. With that extra gold injection, I wonder if BLG will look to try and contest it.
Yeah, BLG still have a ton of tools in a team fight. You've got the Feather Storm from Viper if he's ever jumped on, Hextech Ultimatum from Bin onto the backline with a cease and desist follow-up. Like, someone from G2 can immediately be popped in any of these fights.
And if they're the ones going for the engage, we know about the ability of the counter-engage here, trying to dive through those feathers, through the miasma, through the petrifying gaze. Very, very difficult. But G2 still in the driver's seat here, are going to be the ones starting this up, and I think it's likely to be given, but we'll see if BLG want to try to get over there.
Well, looks like it is just going to be given over to G2. Their second of the game. Yeah, 28-minute soul if we get to that point.
And now this is where I will say it stops being fun for Ksante. Once Camille has lifesteal here, you have the Ravenous Hydra, you're healing up over and over off these waves. It becomes very difficult for Ksante to put them down. BLG overloading bot side.
Flashing in with the knock-up quickness coming out, but with the Hextech Ultimatum follow-up, there's no escape from Labrov. A bird in a cage locked up as G2 lose another. BLG with a great pick.
I love the lane gank from Bin, simply because there's no cross-map option available for G2. The wave was pushed in mega deep up towards the top side. Broken Blade only just now getting that anywhere near that top tower, and maybe he will secure it, but BLG get a tower of their own with a kill as well.
They did commit a lot to it, but even having the TP from Knight, this is just great because Knight then goes up, defends the tower on the top side. You get the kill, you get the tower. The tower makes it more worthwhile to me if it's just a support kill for, you know, a flash from your support for multiple key ultimates. Feels less worthwhile, but defending the top side tower, taking one of their own, really clawing back this gold lead. BLG making a couple of very good plays.
Absolutely, and that just goes to show that G2, they can't afford to make any more mistakes because BLG is ready to pounce, and Bin is in prime position to do just that. Impressive lead that he's starting to build up for himself. The 2-item Camille that you've already highlighted, Azael, really starting to look more threatening as Baron now makes its way onto the Rift.
14 kills in 20 minutes. One of the slower games that we've had today, which is not something that you always get to say, as G2 with only 1,000 gold lead now has been cut to own a third of what it once was. BLG's done a really good job over these last few moments, finding picks, catching G2 unawares, and they are on the precipice of coming back in this game.
I mean, Viper yet to find an assist or a kill, but he is a full level over Hunt Summer. He's done a really good job of continuing to farm. He does have that 35 CS lead above him, and while he is, of course, behind in gold because of that lack of participation, once he starts getting those kills, I mean, he's even in terms of itemization.
This is what they keep doing. They see Labrov overstepping immediately. They jump onto him. It's not going to be enough as Broken Blade tries to get on towards the backline. SkewMond going in. Labrov is able to escape even through the poison ticking. Viper walking away as Broken Blade is headbutted back to the rest of his team. But meanwhile, Bin continues just to push in a side lane. BLG distracting G2 from Bin, who is trying to get these plates.
I mean, G2 tried to group, they tried to make plays happen, but it's Labrov that keeps getting caught out, and BLG are leveraging this to find more advantages on the map.
And I think the really costly thing is Hans lost both summoners, right? So that is going to make it very difficult at this next dragon. G2 do have those 2 early dragons. Caps
just going to get forced away by Knight. This will get pulled back out of
value,
Vital, and the Herald will be killed before it can find its mark. 2 minutes on the next Drake, still a while before that next objective, but you can see what BLG are doing so well. Labrov tries to step up immediately. Flash, Vault Breaker, let's go, let's get him down as low as possible, make him use the quickness defensively wherever we can.
Yeah, couldn't quite burst him down. But a big spike now for Knight as he gets that Archangel. So now you have that shield. You're about to tick over to 10 on that Roa. So it's a big part of the game here for Knight. Caps has gone in towards, you know, what could be a Zhonya's or just a pit stop for that Seekers. And then if he doesn't have to pop, you can obviously turn that into a Death Cap or a Shadow Flame or whatever else. But Caps still looking for that second completed item.
That gold lead has disappeared. 3K was the advantage that G2 had amassed, but after that pick onto SkewMond, the top tower plays, the gank in bot lane, BLG have closed that gap once again, and now we're in a very even game state where itemization is pretty dead set across the board. It all comes down to execution now as BLG is going to secure their third outer tower. That's 3 towers to 0 right now.
And that's one of the big reasons that the gold lead has shrunk. G2 have been unable to pick up any of those standing objectives on the map, any of that standing gold. Yes, they are 1 minute away from a possible soul point, but as soon as you start cracking through these towers, it really accelerates you towards those second and third items.
That's the glass half empty. The glass half full is, if you win a fight, 1 plate remaining on bot tower, 1 plate remaining on top tower, 2 in mid lane. You could crack those outers pretty quickly and grab some of that standing gold, take some more space on the map, which can be quite nice. And the second item obviously has been done for Hans for a while. Looks like he's going to be going in towards Dusk and Dawn, which has become very, very popular on the Kaisa.
We can see throughout the trajectories that often when BLG got on lead in this series, it was very difficult for them to lose it. G2 getting that comeback victory in game 1. But now we're in a very even game state as we get closer to the dragon spawning.
It's going to be the Haunting guys for Caps. As you said, a little stopgap with the Seekers and the needlessly large rod. Drake up in 8 seconds time. Not much vision down there for G2. Knight is hiding in the Baron pit right here. Caps is going to spot him out. Shun here for the chase as well. Knight able to put the miasma down and force Caps away. That does mean Knight has to take the long route back to join up with the rest of BLG.
Yeah, Knight took about 1,000 damage there from Caps. Will be able to grab some honey fruit, heal back up. So is going to be just fine, but level 15 for now. Just even on levels with Caps despite the Roa ticking over.
Broken Blade might get level 16 off this wave. Nope, never mind. He's going to start rotating across. The TP is actually going to be committed early. They want to contest for this wave. Getting Prior was much harder when that tower is still alive, but now they will gain access into the river, but Bin doing a good job of keeping that bot wave pushed.
Exactly, and they're actually pinging over on a Baron, because remember how fast Cassio can do this. They're trying to threaten a 2-man with Bin going down towards that bot side. They're trying to draw G2 in multiple directions, and G2 needs to commit to one side. You either start the dragon, you try to collapse on Bin, you got to do something here, because Bin is going to have that wave crashing in.
It also has the TP still, so if a BLG start up the Baron, which is what they're going to do, Bin can just teleport back. Shun and Knight able to do the Baron by themselves. Bin being collapsed on by Caps and Broken Blade. Meanwhile in mid lane, SkewMond and Hans are just trying to keep the wave around. Bin able to dodge towards the inhibitor tower and keep the rest of G2 distracted. Labrov, Hans and SkewMond are into the Baron pit right now. Skew trying to get in there. Vision in the back of it for G2. Hans opening up with the Acadian raid. G2, Caps is going to TP in SkewMond on the Baron right now, and they can just finish it. Shun flashes in, gets the smite, season assist as well. On's going to fall to the Arcane Storm. Shun in the middle of the pit is going to go down as well. Bin was able to escape. G2 will find 2, but BLG will get the Baron.
Shun comes up clutch for BLG once again. He needed to get that steal after BLG found themselves in a very awkward position. Once the TP from Caps came through, the poke was landing from G2. That could have been devastating for BLG, but Shun is able to save it.
That was crazy risky for BLG. I feel like if SkewMond gets that smite,
it's a collapse.
It is such a disaster, but they are looking for a potential collapse here. Bin still has ult.
No, but Bin is just looking for the fight. Bin loves this position against G2. Knight trying to step forward, SkewMond trying to get out. The hookshot wall dive in from Bin. Hexagol made him put onto SkewMond, who's invisible for a second. Knight with a Noxious Blast. TP behind. SkewMond flashes. Dies immediately afterwards. Labrov having to dance his way away. But Bin's trying to get onto that backline. Petrifying Gaze going to land as well. There's a headbutt. Pulverize. And BLG punish G2's hubris. They take them down as they look for the dragon.
It's the Spellbook TP from On into the 3-man combo. They're going to look for more than that. They're just going for the base right here. Right now, it's 30 seconds on Hans. They might just end the game.
So many times BLG have come up just short. Second place, second place, second place. But here in first stand in Sao Paulo, they are looking for the ultimate prize. BB trying to be on that front line, but he is dead where he stands. Caps trying to defend. G2 unable to do anything. Second place no longer. Redemption for BLG. Resurrection for the LPL. BLG are your first stand champions.
And it can end that quick. BLG flip the game on a dime, find the angle, knowing they have that teleport that's going to be available from On, knowing Bin can play for the fight, knowing that G2 are focused on the dragon. BLG pile in and crush the dreams of G2, who made you believe in this tournament, who made you believe in this game. But BLG are the first stand champions, first international title for this organization, first international title for the LPL since 2023 MSI. The LPL fans have been hungry, and finally they can eat.
What a performance by BLG. Not just today, but across the tournament. They have been dominant, and today they showed they are the very best in the world right now. For the LPL, as you say, 3 long years in the desert. Now again, international glory. We'll see if they can continue it across the rest of the year. But right now, one thing is for sure.